Okay, so day 5 done, week 1 done, and it's been a blast and it's gone by so quickly. Day 5, Friday, and the wrap up of week 1 was our first day actually getting to cook something in the classroom. So day 5 was all about eggs and butter and making sure that we got that introduction. But before I get started on what we talked about for day 1, I want to share with you all a big mistake I made today, which was to forgot all my tools. I forgot all my tools at home. This was a huge mistake on my end that I will make sure to never let happen again. Long story short, I was filming last night, left my tools on my filming station and left in a hurry to get to culinary school and make sure that I was there extra early, and did not check to make sure I had my tools. And that is something that I need to do not only moving forward but for the rest of my life. Also for the rest of culinary school, I will pack all of my tools in my backpack. This is just to sort of train me to just have all the tools at my disposal, and I'm ready to go for whatever lesson is that day. So lesson learned. I'm going to learn from this, better myself, and make sure that doesn't happen again. So what did we talk about for day 5 of culinary school? Like I said, it was the first time we actually got to cook something for culinary school. We did practice a little bit more knife skills. That's essential, and I bet my bottom dollar that we're probably going to be working on knife skills for the rest of our time in culinary school. Started off with a serve safe lecture. I'm really excited to just get rid of these serve safe lectures. I'm over it. I get it. Sanitation is important. Blah blah blah. And moving on, that was about a 20-minute serve safe lecture, so it wasn't too bad. And then we had a group presentation on eggs and fats. Talked about different facts about the egg, how to tell if it's a fresh egg or an older egg. We also talked about fats and oils. The difference between fats and oils, folks, you need to know this, at least for culinary school, is the difference between fats and oils is liquid at room temperature versus fats is at solid at room temperature. We also talked about the different smoke points of different oils, so that's also something that you need to know. I have here my favorite oil to cook with, avocado oil, and the avocado oil smoking point goes up to 500 degrees. I don't know the smoking point, but it's really high up there, which is why I love to cook with avocado oil. Not to mention it's very healthy for you. It has less of the trans fats of normal oil. So if you can find it and afford it and cook with it, definitely I recommend cooking with avocado oil because the smoke point is high. That means you can cook at high temperatures with this particular oil. So always keep that in mind when you're looking at oils in the grocery store. What kind of smoke point is your oil, and how healthy is it for you? So yeah, talked about fats and oils in the earlier part of the day. Then we did a quick demo on how to make clarified butter, which is basically just melting the butter down with a bain marie, which is which translates to, I believe, Mary's bath, and it's basically just a double broiler. You just boil and then you put the butter in another separate pan that fits into the pot of boiling water, and you melt the butter down. Then once it's melted down, you separate out the fats. So the fats will liquid up, you separate that, you pour out what's rested, and there's gonna be water below. You also separate the water so that it's just pure butter. Use that pure butter, store it, or use it to cook. And that's sort of what we use to cook the eggs. So if you have any more questions on how to make clarified butter, I'm sure there's plenty of videos out there on how to make clarified butter, but that's sort of just a basic thing, right? Is just cooking with clarified butter and demoing how to do that. And then we went on to doing our sunny side up eggs, our over easy eggs and our scrambled eggs. I want to first talk about scrambled eggs, I want to first start talking about sunny side up eggs and letting you know that I probably before culinary school have cooked sunny side up eggs wrong my entire life, at least according to by the book technique. You're supposed to not have that brown ring around your egg. So to give you an example, this was my first egg, and you can see here you have some browning here. That's no go. You can also see here this section is a little bit undercooked. So you want to cook your egg at a slow and low temperature, and you want to make sure that it's just a white egg white all across, no brown rings around the egg. The brown ring is from high temperatures you're cooking at. When you're seeing bubbles from the egg, that means your temperature and your heat is too high. So you want to make sure you're watching that when you're cooking the egg. So, I mean, until culinary school, like I said, I've been cooking eggs wrong my entire life. I thought I could definitely cook an egg, and I was wrong. And now I'm learning at least the right way to cook an egg by the book. This was my second attempt at the egg. This was a little bit better, but there's still some brown around the edges. You just want to make sure, again, this is a low heat activity and it takes time, right? Like it's not going to happen very quickly because you're cooking at a low heat and you don't want to bubble up. So real quick, at my first egg, this was still a bit greasy and oily, and he noted that. He's like, hey, this is too oily, so lessen the oil but still make it smooth. Here, still a little bit oily, but better. This section of the egg right here is just due to the freshness of the egg. You can tell an egg is fresh by the way the yolk is popped up, and if the egg whites don't spread too far. So in other words, if it's a fresh egg, it's gonna like sort of squeeze together the egg whites and just kind of stay in that one place. If it's an older egg, it'll like spread faster. So that's one way to tell if it's a fresh egg. But yeah, I mean, I think the second time around was definitely better. I definitely will have been practicing at home this technique, but there's some there and there's some there. But overall, a good first and second attempt. We do it twice. We do the sunny side up egg twice, and then we move on to the over easy. The over easy is you flip it once to cook the yolk, and then you flip it a second time to make sure that you don't overcook the yolk. So that is also a challenge in of itself. If I can find my... So you want to just make sure that you're sort of flipping it very quickly. It's all on the wrist, and it takes a lot of practice, right? So it's something that I am looking forward to practicing at home, and just sort of flicking the wrist and making sure that whatever I'm flipping, whether it be an egg or, let's say, I don't know what else you flip, pancakes, or when you're sauteing vegetables and you're flipping, right? It takes practice and it takes time. This is something that I've done a lot at home, so I just need to sort of continue that and go from there. But unfortunately, for my first over easy egg, this is how it came out. I flipped. You can see here because of it needed a little bit more oil, but I failed on the flip, which caused my egg yolk to break. Obviously, this is not an acceptable egg, but I wanted to take a picture of it to talk about that experience and make sure that I'm keeping that in mind. Making sure also to lubricate, have enough of the butter or have enough of the oil to make sure you have enough to flip. The second time around went a lot better, I would say. There's a edge here that's bothering me a bit. It's a little bit flat, but this was a better flip overall. But again, It takes practice, right? Again, I will say this over and over again. You don't wake up one morning and just be the best chef you can. It just takes practice and repetition and repetition. So the second time around for the over medium went well. I would say definitely better than the first time where I misjudged and mistimed that flip. And then moving on to scrambled eggs ×2. So I only he did demo all these things, and I made sure that I at least got to practice my scrambled eggs. So the way a scrambled egg works is you're, again, cooking it in medium to low heat, and you're just sort of curling the edges, and you're curling the edges. This is a classic French scrambled egg. So you're just curling the edges. Obviously there's already butter in there, and you're just sort of curling it, making sure that it's still wet enough or moist enough, but you don't want it to be dry, obviously. So the dryness really comes from overcooking the egg. And you want large curds. So that means you're just sort of flipping the egg and just sort of not overworking it, but like just sort of tossing it around a bit and just sort of working that, but not, and making sure that you have sort of large curds. And this is what I mean by large curds. If you can see, this is my first scrambled egg example. This was, here you can see that the curds are too small. That was sort of my big no-no in this. Not my big no-no, but could have been better, right? Like the lesson here is I overworked my scrambled egg too much, which is something that obviously you can get better at, right? And I can get better at, is just sort of leaving it alone. I was sort of helicopter momming the scrambled eggs, and that, that was a product of just overworking your scrambled eggs. You want to just sort of give it big turns every once in a while, but the moisture here looks good. You can still see some, so the wet parts of the egg, which is good. I really like my egg a little bit more on the runnier side, not quite the Gordon Ramsay egg soup, but like in this sort of wet-ish texture. And so yeah, the chef really went in there and took a spoon and was like, hey, you overworked your egg a little bit. Leave it alone next time. Just give it some big folds. Give it some big folds and have yourself nice big curds. Yeah, and so that's definitely something that I'll keep practicing at home and keep honing on. Also, during the class, we worked more on our cutting skills, our knife skills. I also went home and took home potatoes to practice on, and just sort of took about 2 to 3 hours today and practice today. So I'm slowly but surely practicing at home and making sure I spend the right amount of time, a couple hours a day at least, practicing these things. He has a note here on clean as you go. And that's something that I'm sort of getting used to for culinary school, is just making sure my station is in tip-top shape at all times, making sure that it's sanitary, making sure all my tools are organized, making sure that I'm wiping down with the Sani bucket, making sure that everything is clean and orderly. And yeah, basically we ended the day with a recap of our day and our week. My thoughts from the first week was, I'm exactly where I need to be in terms of culinary school. I'm super happy that I'm here, and I'm super happy that I'm doing this. I think this is a step towards my goals and my dreams and my passions. So I'm really happy of where I am right now, and I'm so excited to just keep getting better, keep becoming a better cook, and doing that with time and practice. Yeah, and there's 14 students. There's 14 total students, including me, 15 including the chef. So that's overall 14 people that I can learn from and sort of analyze how they're cooking their dish. This will come into play later on down the road when we have more sophisticated dishes, and each of those perspectives will play a role in how they cook that dish. there's 15 people in class, and there's going to be 15 ways that dish is going to be cooked based on the people in class. So that's just perspectives that I get to learn from. That's priceless to me. So like I said, week 1 done, and I couldn't be more excited, and I couldn't be more thrilled. I can't wait to practice more and to learn more, to fail more, and to get better. With that, thanks so much for watching. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you. Thanks, and I'll see you for week 2, day 6 of culinary school. Peace. Bye.